episode, the last in the Introduction to Butterfly series. Apologies for the production delay, but when that episode airs, I'm sure you will understand. Now we know about some of the countless threats facing a butterfly, but how do they actually survive? In a previous episode, we devoted an entire video to the survival strategies of eggs, caterpillars, and pupae. In this episode, we will focus on the adult butterfly and the remarkable ways in which it survives in an often hostile world. So, hello and welcome again. I am sure you were impressed by the extraordinary strategies used by butterfly eggs, caterpillars, and pupae in order to survive in their most vulnerable stages. But the story doesn't end there. The ultimate goal is to ensure a next generation, and for that to happen, the adult has to survive long enough to find a mate. Then, the female must locate the correct host plant to deposit her fertilized eggs. Only then is the mission complete. And believe me, that final journey is still a difficult one. In this video, we'll be talking about colors, patterns, and behavior. While their importance for survival will become obvious, remember that many of these same features also play important roles in mate identification, mate selection, and communication between butterflies. The challenges begin from the very moment the butterfly emerges from the pupa. At this stage, it is extremely vulnerable. The wings are still soft and unusable, and the freshly emerged butterfly cannot yet fly. To make matters worse, its body is full of fluid that still needs to be pumped into the wings. For a short period, the butterfly is essentially a sitting duck. This is why the location chosen by the caterpillar for pupation is so important. The site not only has to remain safe during the pupal stage, but it also needs to provide suitable places for the emerging adult to grip onto while stretching and hardening its wings. Once ready, the adult must continue its journey. As we discussed in previous videos, this means searching for sunshine to generate heat, nectar for food, and eventually a mate. We've already touched briefly on these topics, and perhaps we'll explore them in greater detail in future episodes. But this video focuses specifically on survival against natural threats, at least those dangers that can potentially be avoided. We'll leave disasters such as droughts, fires, torrential rain, and other extreme natural events for another time. The ability to fly is probably the adult butterfly's greatest defense. A butterfly must be capable of taking off instantly and in almost any direction. But are they truly safe once airborne? Unfortunately not. Agile predators such as birds, dragonflies, and robberflies are equally capable of catching butterflies in flight. Flying can also become a problem in strong winds. For this reason, many butterflies that inhabit very windy areas tend to be smaller in size, making them less vulnerable to powerful gusts. When basking in the sun or feeding on nectar, butterflies often sit completely still. Their ability to observe their surroundings therefore becomes critically important. We'll look more closely at butterfly eyesight in a future video, but for now, it is enough to say that they can see almost all around themselves. And their ability to detect movement is astonishing. Their field of vision extends far behind them, and their large, multifaceted eyes provide excellent motion detection, making it easier to spot approaching predators. Of course, the safest option is for a predator not to notice you at all. Camouflage, or hiding in plain sight, is therefore an incredibly valuable survival strategy, and in butterflies, it can be absolutely astonishing. Some species simply have cryptic undersides that soften the sharp outline of their wings when resting. Others possess camouflage so perfect that it becomes almost unbelievable. Some butterflies resemble dry leaves, complete with matching veins and leaf-like wing shapes. Others resemble green leaves. Some species even have smooth, flat undersides that make them look like part of a rock surface. But even with excellent camouflage, reducing visibility even further can help, in much the same way that military aircraft try to minimize radar reflection. Butterflies often minimize their visible profile. A The best way to achieve this is by remaining perfectly still while turning towards the thread, showing only a very narrow silhouette. Sometimes the best defense is to surprise the attacker. But how does a butterfly achieve this? Smoke and mirrors, of course. Some butterflies suddenly open their wings to reveal large eye spots, or even multiple eyes, startling predators long enough to allow an escape. Others flash bright colors hidden beneath otherwise dull wings, creating a sudden visual shock that may cause a predator to hesitate for just a moment. And sometimes that moment is enough. A butterfly's wings are essential for flight, but interestingly, they do not always need to remain perfect for survival. If capture becomes unavoidable, it is better to sacrifice a non-essential part of the body, and butterflies have evolved remarkable ways of encouraging predators to strike less important areas. Some species possess lines and markings that direct attention towards the corner of the hind wings, areas far from the body and less critical for flying. Predators mistakenly assume the head is located there and snap at nothing more than a piece of wing. Some butterflies even create a convincing false head, complete with eye spots and antenna-like tails. Have you ever noticed that butterflies rarely fly in straight lines the way birds do? While this wandering flight pattern certainly helps them search for nectar and baits, it also makes them extremely difficult to catch because predators cannot easily predict their movements. In some brilliantly colored species, especially the flashes and sapphires with their mirror-like blue wings, this becomes even more effective. A predator may see a sudden flash of bright color, then instantly lose sight of the butterfly as it disappears against the background with closed wings, only for the bright flash to reappear somewhere else moments later. But when genuinely threatened, many butterflies can launch into rapid escape flight, almost instantly. We have often observed butterflies flying slowly upwind. This may seem more energy intensive, but it likely provides an important advantage. If danger appears, they can immediately rise into the air and allow the wind to assist their rapid escape downwind. Of course, flying upwind may also help them detect drifting pheromones from potential mates, but we'll save that fascinating subject for another episode. Sometimes survival depends not only on how you fly, but also on how you land. Certain butterflies, such as ringlets, quickly flash their eye spots immediately upon landing, briefly imitating a larger predator. Another fascinating observation involved a small opal butterfly on the west coast of South Africa. After landing, it almost always rolled away from the actual landing spot, potentially tricking predators into attacking the wrong location. Watch a butterfly landing in front of you sometime. Very often, it lands and immediately turns to face you while closing its wings, reducing visibility to the narrowest possible outline. Another useful strategy is simply to become active when predators are less effective. Some butterflies fly during twilight or near dark conditions, when visual predators struggle to spot them. For example, the evening browns fly in strong twilight, while many skippers are crepuscular and become active mainly during dawn or dusk. All these techniques help butterflies survive, but as we saw with caterpillars, prevention is often better than cure. Many butterflies developed from caterpillars that fed on toxic plants. The toxins retained in their bodies make them unpleasant or even dangerous to predators. But this strategy only works if predators learn to recognize and avoid them before eating them. So butterflies advertise their toxicity using bright warning colors such as reds, oranges, and yellows. This is known as aposematic coloration. Not all butterflies feeding on harmless plants possess toxins of their own. Some simply cheat. These species imitate toxic butterflies with remarkable accuracy, gaining protection through deception. Such mimics occur across many butterfly families, and in some cases butterflies even mimic moths, or moths mimic butterflies. Of course, survival challenges do not end when night falls. Most butterflies are day-flying insects and cannot see well in darkness. Finding a safe roosting site therefore becomes essential. Many seek sheltered resting places beneath leaves or hidden among vegetation where they remain through the night. Some species even roost together in groups, relying on safety in numbers, although this may still leave the occasional unlucky individual vulnerable. Most butterflies survive harsh seasons such as winter while still in the egg, caterpillar or pupal stages. As adults, a few migrate to warmer regions. The most famous example is probably the migration of the American monarch to Mexico. Some butterflies survive winter by emerging as adults and an entirely different seasonal form. The gaudy commodore provides a fascinating example. During summer, it appears bright pink and actively buzzes around hilltops. But the winter form looks completely different, with bright blue upper wings and a pitch black underside. Its behavior changes too. Instead of flying around hilltops, it remains along hillsides and escapes predators and severe weather by roosting inside dark holes, where its dark underside makes it almost invisible. Finally, it is important to remember that we interpret butterfly behavior and appearance from a human perspective and within the limits of our own senses. This kind of anthropomorphizing may not always be accurate. In reality, there may be survival strategies that we do not yet fully understand. But even what we can observe already makes the lives of butterflies endlessly fascinating. In their struggle to keep populations alive in a very hostile environment, butterflies have evolved an extraordinary variety of survival strategies. So the next time you see a butterfly, take a moment to observe it carefully. Watch its movements, its posture, its flight, and its behavior. You may begin to notice some of these remarkable survival techniques yourself. Hopefully we will see you in the next episode. And if you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the notification button. But as always, why not share it with your friends and family and invite them to join us on this journey? Let's turn the whole world into butterfly lovers. Most already are, they just don't realize it.